We on? Ah, there it is. Hello. You good? Hey, Tangle Trish, how are ya? All right. Okay, so this is okay. All right, it was like weird because the stream manager was not working on Twitch. Hey, hello. All right, the usual drill. Mic check, audio check, check, audio check. Hello. We good? Audio check, check. Mic check, video check. Are we good? We good? We good? Thanks, Tangle Trish. Okay, we're all good. We good? Anyone else chime in? No viewers today? The hell. Kind of weird. Okay, numbers are changing. Hello? Anyone else? We're good? Hey, Mr. Toph. Good. Everything sound good? Mic check? Video check? We good? All right. All right, so I'm going to begin. It's 4:32. Hello. Yes, I tuned in a little bit late today, but I realized, maybe it's a good idea sometimes to don't show up. Don't be the first person to show up too early. All right. So, this is the second to last class. This is the second to last session on Twitch of the semester. Yeah, next week will be the end of season number 4 on Twitch. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing these. Really enjoy doing these. And I'll say it again, I invested in online teaching many years ago. But I started investing in Twitch in fall 2020 and thoroughly have enjoyed it. Enjoyed every moment. It doesn't feel like teaching it doesn't feel like a thankless job. And yeah, we'll return and hopefully we'll return in the fall. We'll do this again. Loved every moment of this. I'll tune in every so often on during the summer, probably playing FIFA or something. But today is a topic that, yeah, Twitch is unfortunately, Kyle, one of the things that, Twitch is not, it's part of Amazon. Well, I guess you can invest in Amazon, I guess. So last week we did malware. And that was really the last major topic of the course. Everything else after malware becomes like bonus. But one of the underlying messages I talked when we were discussing malware last week is you got to know a lot in order to do malware analysis. You need to do things like packet analysis, password cracking, reconnaissance, Nmap, list goes on. And you need all the tools that you've learned throughout this whole semester to really do malware analysis. Today is going to be the same message, and it's going to be the same exact message, different topic. You don't need to know this like for the exam or stuff, but it's on forensics and incident handling. Like malware, forensics and incident handling require you to know a little bit about a lot. And today I'm going to take a quick flashback to the first lab that we did in this course, the very first lab of this course. So you may notice now, you may have realized that a lot of stuff that you have done in this, so far in this course, you'll see over and over again. A good example is the command line. You've been using the command line commands quite a bit. And you'll need to use command line commands, ideally, to analyze malware. One of the things that I mentioned in my course is, remember, the IP address for, consider the following IP address, yada, yada, yada. Of course, that led to a discussion on honeypots. But why did I bring this up today? I brought this lab up for a couple of reasons. Number one is, remember this question that I gave on the very first lab? There's this question that I gave on the very first lab. what command can you use to securely delete a file? Again, the the question on the very first lab of this course was, what command can you use to securely delete a file? What I wanted people to realize and to do is that if your answer is straight RM to remove a file, that will remove a file, but it doesn't securely delete a file. Usually, each and every semester, around 20% of students um, answer RM or remove as a command to use to securely delete a file. And yeah, hey Leppy, hey Boundless. Yeah, and Radang Boundless is like the ideal way. If you want to securely delete a file, yeah, you want to use shred, something like a shred or something. Um, but if you actually answered RM to securely delete a file with no other flags, that doesn't remove delete a file. But for those people who answered RM for what command to securely delete a file, that's not a bad thing because the motivation is, well, today. This leads to the motivation of today. How do you securely delete a file? Maybe the motivation is, okay, so if you answered RM to securely delete a file, it won't. Which leads to today, what I'm going to show today is, well, how RM will not securely delete a file, but most importantly, if you delete a file using RM, or the files or folders or whatever with RM, can you recover them? How can we recover them? And that's what we're going to do. So that's going to be the end of the motivation. The other thing is there's a lot of forensics tools out there, and how they work under the hood is, well, they're based off of these commands that you learned in the first lab. So this is the reason why I'm showing this very first lab that you did in the security course again. Number one, the motivation on, well, how can we recover files that were deleted with RM or you dump it into the trash? That's number one. And number two is, well, are there any tools that actually combine all these different tools that we use to do like forensics investigation? They like, yeah. Okay, you will lose your mind if I can recover a straight RM file. Yeah. You can do that. Okay, so we'll do that right now. But let's do some preliminaries first. Let me just do some preliminaries, some definition before we actually get into the demonstration. So this is just a crash course on security and forensics and incident handling today. I forgot to say that I should have made an announcement on Twitter saying like maybe today is one of those days that law enforcement is welcome. You may be actually a bit surprised by that. And yeah, I used to do work for a little work for law enforcement back in the heydays. Yeah, so I only got good things to say. Only got great things to say. So today, what we're gonna do is how to recover files off of a disk, deleted files off of a disk, how to acquire data from disk using DD. Okay, and of course how to analyze images, disk images that were created from DD using Autopsy and Sleuth Kit. So for Snoozer Kyle, this part, the using Autopsy, Sleuth Kit, and Foremost, that's the part that's gonna blow your mind. Okay? So here is a scenario, and this is a great follow-up to malware. It's like, imagine if you have been attacked, compromised, or is involved in a criminal incident, which I've been involved with a few times. What's the evidence? What happened? When? Who's involved? Like the who, what, when, where, why. That's a scenario. T. So, what is forensics? Forensics boils down to five terms: preservation of computer media, identification of computer media, extraction of computer media, interpretation, and of course, last but not least, documentation of findings, which generally will be used in the court of law. You got to be extremely careful what you find and what you write, because you don't want to leave any stones unturned, especially if you are in the court of law. Okay, so we're gonna do by hand today: preservation, identification, and extraction of computer media. What is computer media? That could be anything. I mean, that could be your iPad, iPhone, mobile device, and USB stick, hard drive on your desktop, laptop. The list goes on. Okay, so forensics is, preservation, identification, extraction, but most importantly, it's also the answer to who, what, when, where, what. Okay, here's the process. Generally looks like this for a forensics investigation. Assess the situation, assess the scenario, analyze the data, acquire the data, analyze the data, write your report. Okay, assess the situation. Mean, okay, look around. What is out? What is in the crime scene? What is in the incident? Acquire the data will include like bagging, tagging, hardware that you find. Also acquiring volatile data as well too, such as data that's stored in memory, which will be deleted if your machine is turned off. Analyze the data, report. So, for those of you who are not familiar with the law enforcement process, before you go and before you go into any scene, any scenario, any crime scene, you gotta obtain a search warrant. Get the damn warrant first. So here's how an application looks like in the trial for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And here's an example of a search warrant. Another one. And of course, it has the back of the page. It has a list of all the a list of all the goods that you have found, also known as the inventory. Just like USB stick, hard drive, laptop, the router. Yes. When we actually go into a crime scene, when we go into an incident, we will take the router. Well, you make an inventory of all your stuff here. Okay. Basic terminology. Volatile data. This is data that will change. RAM, processes, running memory. One of the worst things that you can do if you're at an incident or scene where if you actually see running computers, one of the worst things that you can do is just pull the power plug and turn everything off. Then you just actually remove a lot of evidence. Okay. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I've been so out of touch with the law enforcement community for the last 10 years. I'm not entirely sure. Not entirely sure. So I can't answer that one, Mr. Toph. Non-volatile data. Hard disk, USB drives. This is usually like the hardware. Logical acquisition versus physical acquisition. These are actually important terms. Both have their pros and also have their cons as well too. A physical copy. Oh shoot! You know what? Hold on. A bit-by-bit copy. A physical acquisition is a bit-by-bit copy of an entire physical store. So hold on. Un momento, por favor. I'm gonna pull something out. So, for example, here's a USB stick right here. Here's a USB stick. So, how to do a bit-by-bit copy of this entire, how big is this thing? 64 gigabyte. So you do a bit-by-bit copy of the entire physical store. Okay, of this entire thing. All 64 gigabytes. The good news is, you get an entire copy, bit-by-bit copy of this entire USB stick if you do a physical acquisition. The bad news is, two bad news. A couple of them. One, it takes a long time. I mean, to do a bit-by-bit copy of a 64 gigabyte, I mean, that could take a few hours. Not a few minutes, a few hours to take a bit-by-bit copy of the entire physical store. That takes a long-ass time. What makes it even worse, issue number two, is what happens if the disk is corrupted. Then you get all messed up. Then it gets like, and then of course the copying gets really, really, really messed up. Now, the physical acquisition, one of the biggest issue is, you know, the size. It's, bigger the disk, the longer it's going to take if you do a bit by bit copy. Um, you also don't want to have anything written to the disk when you're doing a bit by bit copy of the physical store. Because, for example, you don't want something called, what is that thing? Contamination? You don't want anything written to disk while a bit by bit copy is being done, because you don't want something called contamination. On the other hand, okay, if you're going to be impatient, if you don't want a bit by bit copy of an entire physical store like a USB stick, you can do a bit by bit copy of directories and files on a file system partition. A good example of where you may want to use a logical acquisition instead of a physical acquisition is Android devices. Now, Android devices have many, many different partitions, and of course, the disk for Android is pretty big these days. But if you only want like a certain directories and files, you just actually would take a bit by bit copies of certain sectors of a disk, or certain files or file systems on the disk, and there it is. The great news, of course, it doesn't take forever to actually make a bit by bit copy of the entire phone. The bad news is you may be missing stuff. Okay. Now, I mentioned earlier that when you do an acquisition, a bit by bit copy of whatever it is, whether it is the entire physical store or whether it's by directory, you want to use a write blocker. A write blocker is actually a physical device that actually allows acquisition of information on a drive, such as a USB stick like this, without the possibility of damaging the drive content that includes like contamination. So if you do a search for forensic write blocker, here's how otherwise a couple $100. There you go. These are how write blockers look like. Okay. Here is an example. Looks like this one is making a bit by bit copy of a Sanders USB stick, power, and a transfer cable of some sort. Power in, you have all kind of different ports that you can use. But what these will are extremely valuable. Extremely valuable because when you're making a bit by bit copy of a disk for investigative purposes, you don't want any contamination or anything to be written to that disk while it's being copied. Okay. Digital investigators, okay, if we need certain data to be representative evidence, it has not been altered during the proceeding. A write blocker allows read-only access to a digital device without compromising data integrity in any way. So, of course, you're seeing the CIA triad all over again. These when used properly, a write blocker guarantees that the data inside of a digital storage device remains intact. Okay, here it is. There's a whole bunch of different things. I'll just copy and paste that article. There you go. One, I don't have one. I mean, they're not cheap. They're a couple $100 for a good one. At least a couple $100 for one. Chain of custody, chronological documentation, warrant, seizure, custody, control, transfer, analysis, and disposal. Okay. So I had some to ponder questions. Is okay, what could possibly go wrong if you don't use a write blocker to acquire evidence that data? You mentioned that we talked about this already. What are the pros and cons of physical versus logical acquisition? When would you want to use one over the other? That I already mentioned as well too. Okay, here's basically what you use for forensics tools. What you use for forensics tools, well, it's everything a lot of stuff that you have already used, that you already know of. Forensic tool, these are your friends, strings. MD5, SHA-1, SHA-56, SHA-512, OpenSSL to calculate the hash values to, for the integrity of a disk. DD, FTK, NK, steg detect, Oh, I want to give a shout out to Kim because a lot of criminals still use steganography these days. Kim, want to give you a shout out. Uh, Salute Kit, Autopsy, and Foremost. This is like a short list of forensics tools. But the whole purpose of this whole list is right now is like a couple of the tools that a couple of the tools you already know of, like strings and MD5. Our focus today is we're going to do DD. NCase is a beast. It's one of the best it's probably the best forensics tool on the market, but it costs like thousands of dollars. Used by like every law enforcement agency around the world. DD, Salute Kit, and Foremost are going to be our friends today. Yeah. Demo time! Well, there we go. I don't need this anymore. I don't need this slide anymore, but we're going to use DD, Salute Kit, and Autopsy, and Foremost. They may be wondering, like, what the hell is DD? I'm going to get to that. Hey, so I'm on a Mac, you know that. So, you know I'm on a Mac. So, I'm going to put this USB stick on. I'm going to make this USB stick. I'm going to fire up my terminal. Timeout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit-by-bit copy. Well, I'm not going to do, I'm not going to type out, we're not going to do the bit-by-bit copy of this drive because it takes forever. But I'll show you how to do a bit-by-bit copy of any drive using DD. Now here I am, I have a USB stick. And I'm going to plug it in. I plug it in you? Alright, so there it is. So you can see on my desktop that the drive actually, so I'm not going to open up the drive. I don't want to open up the drive. Now on Mac OS land, you can actually see a list of all the drives mounted on your computer by using the disk-util command. What the hell is disk-util on Mac? This is Mac OS only. Disk-util on Mac OS is to modify, verify, and repair local disk. So it's it basically is the disk utility. But a command, if you're familiar with system preferences, oh shoot, they don't come with it anymore. It's okay. If you're familiar with the macOS disk utility tool with a graphical version, disk-util is just a command line version of disk utility. Okay? But disk-util, one of the reasons why we want to use it is for the list command. LIST. List disk including internal and external disk, whole disk, and partition, yada, yada, yada. Okay? So I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to go sudo disk-util list. You have to do sudo. Alright, there we go. Disk-util list. And so you can see all the disks that are on my Mac right now. Disk 0, disk 3, and /dev/disk4. As you can see, it's called an external disk, physical disk. Yeah, this is the one. This is the one that we want to use. This is my internal hard drive of my Mac. 1 terabyte. Okay, so I just popped in, and the name of it is personal. Here it is. This is important. Okay, yeah, it's a separate app. But why I want to use disk-util list is to get what is called the partition name. And partition names are usually in the format /dev/whatever. So here it is, my USB stick that I popped in is /dev/disk4. I'm going to make a copy of this. Now, if you're familiar with Linux, if on Linux land, it is on Linux land, it is LSBLK. Oh, no, 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 Leppy, no, 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 oh, Leppy, be careful, be careful. First aid feature every 2 weeks help, but you don't want to do what is called defrag or cleaning up. Because if you have a solid, well, I think most is a solid state these days. Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. What you, no, 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 you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. First aid is fine for performance. I think you should be fine, but at least you're not doing. Did they? I think they may have killed off the defrag, this defrag feature. Yeah, you're fine. Sorry. I scare you, Leppy. Okay. If you're on Linux, I think it's LSBLK. I'll give you an. I'm gonna pop up another command line. I'm just gonna SSH into my Pi hole, and I do an LSBLK, and this is so. Here I have a 900 and something gigabyte external hard drive mounted. So it's going to be /dev/SDA. On Mac OS is the same as the same form. /dev. /dev means device. So disk 4. Okay. So I want to make a bit-by-bit copy of my USB stick that I popped in personal, and we know it's called /dev/disk4. Okay. All right. Great. So how do you do a bit-by-bit copy now of /dev/disk4, also my personal drive? So the way you do it is sudo dd if, and dd takes in two arguments, if in file equals and out file equals. Your in file, your input file, if, is /dev/disk4. Your out file is going to be something called, you can say evidence, and you give it a file name called evidence.dd. And then you hit the enter key, and that's it. So to make a bit-by-bit copy of the entire USB stick that I just popped in, which is at /dev/disk4 on my Mac, it is sudo dd if in file equals /dev/disk4, of equals out file equals, and the bit-by-bit copy of the entire USB stick is going to be saved to a file called evidence.dd. And when it's done, which will take a few hours, evidence.dd will be 61.5 gigabytes as well. Yeah. And then you hit enter key. So I'm not going to do it. Because it's gonna be hard to stop. I mean, I'll do it anyway. Watch what happens. I'll hit the enter key. And I hit the Control C. Okay, here it is. LS. Oops. Didn't create anything. Okay, that's fine. All right. That's fine. So you may be wondering, what is DD? Anyone want to take a wild guess what DD stands for? Your mind will be blown. DD is built into every single system. Anyone want to take a wild guess what DD stands for? Oh, it created something in my dog. Oh shit, sorry. Oh, I'm an idiot. Oh my god. I am such an idiot. Oh yeah, I wasn't on my desktop. It was, oh shit, it created, in like a few seconds, it got 317.3 megabytes. That's what it created. Oh my god. I'm such an idiot. If I go to my desktop, I forgot I wasn't on my desktop, I was in my documents folder. Let's do this again. I can do it again. Oh, there it is. A few seconds. How long did it take? For a few seconds? 117 megabytes, DD. Oh, yeah, thanks. Thanks, Owen. Alright, so I hear deleted dock, disk doctor, disk drive, disk destroyer, DD. No. Are you ready? The answer is what DD stands for is convert and copy. DD stands for convert and copy. Yeah. DD stands for convert and copy. You was like, what? Man, DD. The DD utility copies a standard input to the standard output. That's it. Input data is read and written in 512 byte blocks. If inputs are yada, 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 yada. So you may be wondering why it is not CC, and ultimately why commands are 2 letters long. So back in the 70s, the founders of what we know as modern computing today, they didn't like to type. So how people used to type back in the days, 2 fingers. LS, MV, CD, RM. See a pattern here? PWD. Well, 3 letters. Okay, but wait a minute. Why in the world is it not CC, but DD? The reason is because CC was a C compiler. CC was already taken as the C compiler. So what's the most logical next step? Just increase every letter by 1, DD. There you go. So now you know a little brief history about commands. You know a little bit of brief history about commands and why this is so weird for convert and copy as not CC, but DD. Yeah. People use 2 fingers. CC is already taken, but that makes sense, and you've seen that. You ever heard of something called GCC? Now your brain is moving. All right. So again, we're not going to do a bit-by-bit copy of the personal disk drive that I have here. I'm going to take this out because this is critical. Time out. All right, but you mean, wait, we're screwed? We don't got anything to play with? No, we do. All right, but I have an evidence file for you. No, I haven't. Oh, shoot. I always get this thing mixed up. Yeah. Well, I got an evidence locker for you to play with. There it is. Now check this out. Got an evidence.dmg. I'm going to save it to my desktop. I'll paste it, and you can play along. There's the disk image. Here it is, evidence.dmg. Disk image. Now watch what I'm going to do. Now there's no magic tricks here. Just to let you know, there's no magic tricks. By the way, I want to empty the trash. So why am I, what's this evidence.dmg? So this was a disk drive. But if I double click on it, you got an evidence. Watch what happened when I open it. Okay? How many files do you see here in evidence? How many? How many files do you actually see? I just need a number. 2. Are you sure about that? You sure about there's only 2? Now I got 1, and 2. There are 2 files here. Really? You sure there's no hidden files? Okay. Double check. CD /volumes ls. CD evidence. Do an ls. It's 2 files, right? Yeah. Not bad. ls minus l. A. How many files do you see now? Really is not a whole hell of a lot. You don't see a whole hell of a lot here. You see the text file, you see the picture, but you also see the hidden picture, these files too, the dot files, which are like a copy of stuff. That's fine. Alright, so far so good, right? You basically only see 2 files. It's basically only 2 files. 1 text file, 1 picture. That's it. What if I told you that on this disk, on this evidence disk, there's actually more than 2 files. But they were deleted using an RM. Right now, on the surface, you only see 2 files. Flat out, plain and clear. No questions about it. No magic tricks, no nothing. But what if I told you that I use RM to delete a couple of files on this disk? And now we're going to recover them. We're absolutely going to recover them now. So hopefully soon you will see more than 1 picture here. They're not gone forever. We're going to re-download this on Kali Linux. VMware. Hopefully this works. I installed it last night. Damn it. Because the first one got corrupted. Okay. And how we're going to recover the tool, we're going to recover images on this disk are 2 files. Or we're going to use 2 programs. 2 different ones. They're same results. 2 different programs. One of them is more suited for if you're a command line buff. Yeah, Kali Linux works now on my Mac, yeah. After all that, it was completely kaput. It went completely kaput for me. But I reinstalled it all last night. I don't know what the hell happened. Don't ask Leppy. I don't know. I don't want to know. What I want to introduce to you, we're going to play with first, is Autopsy and SalutKit. SalutKit and Autopsy. Yeah, pain in the ass for the Kali Linux on a virtual machine. Open source digital forensics. SalutKit and Autopsy are free and open source. Autopsy is the front end. SalutKit is a collection of command line tools and C libraries that allow you to analyze disk images and recover files from them. It is used behind the scenes in Autopsy and many other open source commercial forensics tools. Okay? Autopsy is a front end. It's a GUI-based program that allows you to efficiently analyze hard drives and smartphones. It has a plug-in architecture that you can that allows you to find add-on modules or develop custom modules in Java or Python. Okay? So the SalutKit version that is built on Kali Linux is a little bit old, but it still does the job. Yeah, it's one of the nicest logos around. Oh yeah. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, the first thing I want to do is I want to open up the command line. I'm going to my workspace. What I got here? I got nothing in my workspace folder here. pwd, okay. So I'm going to do a wget. Let's analyze evidence.dmg. 48 megabytes. It's a disk image at 48 megabytes. So far so good. Alright, so we have evidence.dmg 48 megs. ls minus l. Here it is. One is a file. No folder, it's just a file. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do sudo autopsy. It's actually, if you want to go to the menus, is on Kali Linux, it's this little Kali on the upper left, forensics, autopsy. There you go. Right there. Okay, so you all remember there were only two files that you saw in that disk image, right? Okay. I'm going to open up a browser, follow the instructions. So open up a web browser and go to this URL, localhost 9999/autopsy. All right. It is. You don't need JavaScript to use autopsies, and it is recommended that you turn it off. They turned off for security reasons. Here you go. Doggo. It's a nice logo. So we're going to actually create a brand new case. So all going to be sleuth today. Case name is going to be CS 116-2022 0421. We're going to call this recovery. Investigator names. Does it matter where? That's a great question. No, doesn't matter where you want it. Great question. No. I was worried about that as well, but no. Okay, so we're going to have a few investigators. User Kyle. Leppy. Boundless. We can have as many investigators that I want, and just do this. We got a bunch of investigators. Optional. Alright. Gotta create a brand new case. A case. Please. I'm gonna pick a Leppy for that one. Add host. Host number name. The name of the computer being investigated. Time zone. Alert hash database. A hash database is a list of like known bad files and known good files. So I'll just give you an idea. I'll just say it. So law enforcement have a list of, for example, they're doing a child pornography investigation. What law enforcement will have is they have a database of files that are known to be, well, really, really explicit pictures. So it's just a bunch of hashes, so you can feed that in. We're not going to have any of that. We're not going to have that, so I'm going to add a host. Now we must import an image file for this host. This is important because, an image file is that DMG file that we have. No image files have been added to host yet, so add image file to below to add one. Now, enter the full path. Now, it has to be a full path, so we got to be extremely careful. CD, I think it's /home/defcon/workspace. Yeah, that's the one. It's going to be /home/defcon/workspace/evidence.dmg. Is this a disk, or if this is an image file, it's for a disk, a single part, we're going to say disk. Now, this option of import. To analyze an image file, it must be currently located in the image locker. So you have basically you have one or two options. Do a symlink, also known as an alias, to this file right here, or do a complete copy of this file onto the evidence locker, which is somewhere on the file system. Look, we don't want to be, especially if your disk image is like a couple gigabytes. You don't want to be making another copy of a couple gigabyte file on the disk. Okay? Yeah, I always run Sudo Autopsy. I mean, it's funny. I think if you're on Kali, it says. I mean, if you're on Kali, it says for forensics, it will say root anyway. And we're going to make a symlink. We don't want to make another copy of evidence.dmg on the file system somewhere. We don't want that. Hit next. All right, and of course, this is why cryptography is important to maintain the integrity of stuff. So, an Md5 hash can be used to verify the integrity of the image. This is extremely important to do when you're doing any forensics investigation because you're going to be working on a case and multiple people are using the same file. You better make sure that everyone is using the same file. That's why you're having you got to calculate the hash of the thing first. In the interest of time, we're not going to do that. But if you're working on a real case, a real investigation, you want to calculate the hash value for the image because integrity purposes. File system detail. Okay, the analysis of the image shows following partition. Okay, there's a mount point. Okay, fine. All right. FAT16. All right, fine. Add. All right, it actually calculated the current MD5. There you go. Yada, 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 yada. All right, fine. Here we go. All right. All right, so we have now we can do our analysis. So assume that we have already collected all the evidence that we got. Now we just have to go and analyze and make our, do our thing. Do our thing. Now let's do some analysis using Autopsy. So let's analyze this first thing. If the file system type is raw, let's analyze. You ready? See what happened. Let's see the details. Nothing good. Now let's analyze this raw file system. Oh shit, that's it? There's nothing. You can do a keyword analysis, image details. No, there's nothing here. Bullshit. Well, that's fine. Oh, that's sad. You can do a keyword search. Social security number, credit card number, social security number, IP. Okay, we got nothing. All right, that's the same. Now, what if we actually did an analyze C? Ready? Let's analyze the C drive of evidence.dmg. Let's do a file. Now we got the file analysis open, image option available. Take a look. That's it? Fucking bullshit. Oh. Hello. Oh. Wait a minute. Remember this one, the stack.txt that you saw? Yeah. The WP file that you saw? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. It's showing a lot more files than I thought. What do you think the stuff in red means? Anyone want to take a wild guess what you think the stuff in red means? Here I am in Autopsy What do you think the stuff in red means? Closed, corrupted, or removed. Mm-hmm. What you're seeing in the red, that's removed stuff. Take a look. Let's take a look at some of the removed files. Mm. What's this one? Mm. You didn't see that on the disk, remember? Remember we opened up evidence.dmg? You didn't see that. You didn't see that either. Originally. Yeah, they're all SpongeBob memes. Oh yeah. Now you're seeing all the deleted files now. You can recover them and save them. Do whatever you need. If I want, you can do a keyword search as well too for stuff like IP, SSN. There's predefined searches like IP. Oh, there is. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Way cool. Analyze. Go back to keyword search and say, yeah. And let's see what file type it is. Sort by file type. Well, actually, if you sort by file type, I'll say okay. Holy shit, look at that. 13 files, extension. There were 46 files on this thing. 29 unknown, 3 text files, 12 images, 2 wow. Not bad. You can see more. There's a FAT16 drive. Metadata. Well, you can see it all. I think we can call this case closed for now. Alright. We can call this case closed. We found the stuff that we deleted. But we're not done yet. We're not done. Control C to exit. We're not done. We're not done. Don't worry. We're not done. Remember, I was going to show you. No, I have a tattoo. That's not mine. I have no intention of getting one. No intention. But I said I was going to show another tool. I want to go. I have a collection on my personal website. I have a collection of old talks that I have done. I want to show you one of my favorite talks that I've given. That was in 2009, September 22nd of 2009. For a long time, long time, I was a member of the High Technology Crime Investigation Association, the HTCIA. HTCIA.org. Yeah. There we're the seeing version of the file. Yeah, that's a good question. Not that I know of. Not that I know of. Unless, like, that's what the dot files are sometimes. Good question. High Technology Crimes Investigation Association, a nonprofit organization. A lot of law enforcement agents in the HTCIA. You also have corporate members as well too, from like, for example, like fraud investigators from like insurance companies, financial institutions. They give training, education, networking through local chapters and international events. We go there about. So I was a member of the HTCIA. Here it is, the High Technology Crime Investigation Association formed to provide education and collaboration to our global members for the prevention and investigation of high-tech crimes. So you can understand that why law enforcement and even corporate institutions are, they're members. But I want to give a shout out to the HTCIA and the New England chapter. Nothing but fond memories of them. I was a member of the HTCIA from like 2005 to like the early 2010s. Remember paying, you had to pay money each and every year you had to pay dues. membership dues. Um, Nothing but fond memories of HTCIA. In fact, uh, it was the very first professional organization I've ever joined. Very first professional organization that I've ever joined. You have to have two law enforcement agents to actually sign you off as a member. Nothing but fond memories. And being a member of the HTCIA really kickstarted my career. Um, really kickstarted my career when I was young after college. Nothing but fond memories, totally worth it. Um, One of the funnest things I did, as a member was I personally gave trainings myself, which ultimately would launch my teaching career. Um, so I gave this presentation at a fun time when people could get together at and I forget where this was. I think it may have been the postal inspection service office that I gave this presentation. Those were fun times when you can actually get together with people, meet in rooms, and everyone chatted and stuff. Nothing but love, nothing but fond memories. My email address and my website still stays the same though. Backtrack is now known as Kali Linux. So I gave a presentation on investigation and incident response using Backtrack, which is now known as Kali. Okay. Gave an introduction. Yeah, a little bit about me back in the heydays. Yeah, fun time. But I do want to show a couple of tools that I mentioned in this presentation. Okay. This was back in the day, back in 2009, that forensic capabilities of Backtrack was really like mind-blowing and cosmic. So one of the problems with DD is if your disk is corrupted, you're pretty much shit out of luck. But also it doesn't give any feedback. So the Defense Cyber Forensics Lab, also known as the DoD DC3, I used to have a friend he used to run the fucking lab, Jim Christie. I want to give a shout out to Jim Christie, wherever you are. Hope all is well, my friend. What DCFLDD does is, can we install that in Kali? I think we can. Sudo apt install DCFLDD. Yeah, I think you get. Oh yeah, it's on Kali, man. DCFLDD still alive. Enhanced version of DD forensics and security. Look at that. DCFLDD was initially developed at the Department of Defense Computer Forensics Lab. This tool is based on the DD program with the following additional features: hashing on the fly, just in case of a disk is corrupted, status output, thank God, and flexible data wipes. Nice. Yeah. Yep. Conventions still work the same. There's also DD_rescue to rescue damaged disk. Okay? But the tool I want to show you all is one of my absolute favorites to recover files and images off of a disk, and it's called Foremost. Foremost is also developed at the Department of Defense DC3 lab. What Foremost does is for file carving and recovery. So you can actually read header, footer, and internal data structures. But what you can do with Foremost is, okay, I just want to given a disk image, get me all the JPEGs, or get me all the text file, or get me all the PNG file, all that. I'll give you an example, and I got Foremost installed on my Kali Linux here. Here we are, we have evidence.dng, man, Foremost. You have to install this on your own too. Sudo apt install Foremost. Install. Man, Foremost. Recover files using the headers, data, yada yada. Recovers files from a disk image based on file types specified by the user using the -T switch. Let's do it. So, Foremost -S100 -T JPEG -I image.dd. Foremost -S100 -T JPEG -I evidence.dmg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recover all the JPEGs off of evidence.dmg. And you can see, oh, there's an output file. An output folder. The audit file. Oh, more. Ooh, it actually recovered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 JPEG files. Not bad. Take a look what they are. Oh, and in fact, only for apples, this one too. 5 JPEG files. So you're seeing a lot more than the 2 in that image file, in that thing that in the original when I opened it on the Mac. All right, let's go back up. Can I do PNGs as well? Oh. Kind of pain in the ass. You want to delete the whole file first, the whole folder first. So start from scratch. R minus RF output. PNGs. There we go. One PNG file. PNG. There you go. Really? That's weird. Yeah, but wait a minute, wait. You need to actually make sure that, hold on. Here, RM might go and do an RM minus RF. Make sure it is, that's the command. My foremost minus S to skip the first 100 block, minus T PNG, but make sure that there is a minus I switch followed by the name of the disk image file. Yeah, I get that a few times. I get the processing standard input if I don't actually enter anything, if my commands are wrong. It's not very forgiving in terms of a command line tool. So now we've seen it. Well, we've seen a lot. So what we have seen? We have seen DD, Salute Kit, and Autopsy, and now Foremost. I think there's only like a few more slides that I do have in the original thing. Seen all this, demo time, we've done this. We've done DD, we've done Salute Kit and Autopsy, we've done Foremost. Check. So now we recovered files from a disk image that were deleted using DD. So what in the world is this thing called incident handling? So incident handling is a very generalized and broad term. Incident handling is really what I explain to people. What incident handling is for is make sure that people don't bark up the wrong trees. Incident handling is logistic, communication, coordination, and planning function in order to resolve an incident. An incident could be anything. So why is incident handling important? Is, well, if there's an incident like malware or someone got hacked, you don't, and so many times we've seen when an incident happens, remember, it's only a matter of when, not a matter of if an incident will happen, when an incident will happen. Always happen during an incident, like chaos, barking up the wrong tree, legal issue, cost overrun, confusion, chaos, you name it. Here's the difference between incident handling and forensic. Incident handling is very, very broad. But the forensics piece is, think of it this way. It's like a forensics is a very narrow, but in a very, very, very strict piece of incident handling where it's like who, what, when, where, why. Incident handling is much, 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 much broader. Okay? If you want to do this stuff for a living in incident handling, the phases are preparation, identification, containment, eradication, recovery, and lessons learned. What I want to say is this. If you want to have a deeper dive in incident handling, and this is actually a great way for me to, well, for as a second to last Thursday on Twitch, and now you will know. If you want a deeper dive into incident handling, take the SANS SEC Hacker Tools, Techniques, and Exploits course. What if I told you that I was an alumnus of this course back in 2007? And I even was a certification holder for years, 4 years. Yeah, I'm an alum of a boot camp course. So that's why when people actually say that they want to take boot camp courses, I went through one. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can go to boot camp course even if you've gone to college. But I'm an alumnus of what is this course called the SANS SEC 504 Hacker Tool Techniques, Exploits, and Incident Handling course. You'll be surprised. What SANS is, go to SANS.org. SANS offers world-class, and I mean world-class cybersecurity training certifications. Some of the most famous people in cybersecurity, all SANS instructors. The Department of Defense sends all their people to SANS courses. SANS courses are not cheap. They are not cheap, but I sure as hell can tell you they're some of the best courses, the best training that money can buy. It is just awesome. I'll show you the SANS 504 course. It's not cheap. Okay, if you want to take the course, it is, almost $8,000. On-demand course. If you want to have a certification, it's an extra $949. Oh my God, I remember it was $400 back in the days. So now it's like $8,000. Wow. So I'll show you what's in this course. SANS 504 will help you develop the skills to conduct incident investigations. You'll actually learn to apply dynamic incident. But here's some of the topics that you'll learn. It's a 1-week class, 9 to 5. You'll learn how to identify threats using host network and log analysis. Attacker techniques to invade detection tools, how attackers exploit complex cloud vulnerabilities, yada yada yada. Here, let's take a look at day 1. Day 1 goes through case studies, live Windows examination, network investigation, memory, malware, cloud investigation exercises. You'll use sysinternals, assessing malware attack in a custom test environment, recon scanning and enumeration attack. That's day 2. Day 2, you do things like open source intelligence with Spiderfoot, DNS reconnaissance and enumeration, MITRE attack framework, open source intelligence, website reconnaissance. Yeah, this looks familiar. Network and host scanning with Nmap. Yeah, I think you've done that. Password and access attack. The hell is that? Password guessing attack with Hydra. Password cracking with John the Ripper. I think you've done that. Password cracking with Hashcat. There you go. Password cracking. There we go. Password covering password from hashes using John the Ripper and Hashcat. Gee, where did I learn all that? Oh, multi-purpose netcat as well. Public facing and drive-by attacks. Look at this. Metasploit, Command injection attack, cross-site scripting, SQL injection. Have you done all that before? Yeah. Man injection, cross-site scripting, SQL injection, post-exploitation attacks, lateral removal of Metasploit. Pretty cool. So there's quite a lot of overlap with this course that you've taken. I like to tell people near the end of this class, like, yeah, now that you've seen what SANS SEC 504 can do, you can do in the course. I'm an alumnus of the course. Hell, you all got some pretty expensive material. You've, my knowledge from the SANS course channeled to you. Yeah, nothing but love. Thanks. Give a shout out. Give a shout out to SANS. Oh, and there's a capture the flag game on the last day. Yeah. I'll just leave it at that. And so that's, my friends, that's all I have in terms of forensics and incident handling. And next Thursday is it, folks. Next Thursday is the end. The last class of this semester. And it will be a very sobering and uncomfortable one. Yeah, it'll be a very sobering and an uncomfortable final stream on Thursday. Hope I don't get fired. Well, I'll get myself into trouble. But nonetheless. Oh, yeah! No, I'm not shutting off the stream. Look, there's only one way to destroy a hard drive. There's only one way. There's only one way to destroy a hard drive securely. Only one. And that is 3 letters. B, B, and Q. Barbecue. No. That's awful. Don't throw in the ocean. Barbecue. Barbecue. Fire. That's the best way to destroy a drive. Barbecue. Fire. Burn the thing. The only way. Before you do that, you also want to drill a hole into the disk as well. Yep. The only number one, the most secure way to delete a drive, barbecue. Burn it. If you can find a way to shred the entire disk, I mean, there's like enterprise grade shredders that can shred like thousands of pounds, like metal. Use that. That's also good as well too. But barbecue. That being said, barbecue. Take care, folks. Night.